What are you seeing now? It looked like the interest rates were kind of rising a little bit. Now they maybe leveled off a little bit with some of the global conflict out there. What's your kind of the latest take on what's happening with rates, especially?
Well, we thought we would see a bigger increase, with the conflict that we're having currently and just with rates, but we did have a little bit of a rate improvement at the beginning of this week. I think we may have lost a little bit of that. I just got an alert that rates
Yeah,
might be going back up again
yeah, very volatile.
midday. Yeah, so right now I'm just telling everybody, just being honest about the fact that we are in a volatile rate environment. And by volatile, it doesn't mean they're necessarily increasing every day, but they're changing.
Right.
They're, one day, you can see a quarter of a percent difference sometimes from a couple days from the day before, which wasn't something we're used to seeing over the last few years.
Right.
Um, and rates have been low, and I like to think they're still low, but comparing them to what we've seen over the past 2 years, now hearing in the fours is way different than, the low threes. It was almost like we kind of skipped that high three and went straight to the fours.
Yeah. Which still, we've all have to have a little perspective here because we got
Yeah.
pretty spoiled with under three.
Yes.
That was phenomenal when you look at the history of mortgage rates, and four, a little north of four, is really pretty fantastic too when you
It
think
is.
about it.
And a lot of times just educating buyers right now is so important because just comparing, they're like, well, I missed out on that 3%, 3.875%. I just can't even afford a house now. Well, you know, the truth is that the difference between, that 3.875 and that four and an eighth or four and a quarter, maybe, $30 to $40 in your monthly payment.
Yeah.
So just really understanding the difference that rate makes a lot of
Yeah.
times is not as big of a difference as you may think.
Yeah. Can you walk us through, if someone says, I want to look for a home, and what we tell them to do is talk to Julie first, go there. What would, because there's really no point in us starting to show homes and look at homes when they haven't been pre-approved or even at least pre-qualified. So what would you, someone comes to you, they're like, yeah, I'm first time home buyer, I'm looking to buy this year. Walk us through that process. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I have a lot of conversations on the front end, kind of figuring out what's important to them, because a lot of times you can find, we got to find out what's important to the buyer to kind of see what loan program is going to be best. Get all their information around where they work, their income, pull credit. It's a lot of gathering information,
Mhm.
and I'm going to gather a lot of that information on the front end so that we know exactly what we're looking at, so that when you find that home that you fall in love with, you can afford that home and that is, within your price range. Um, so really at the beginning, we're pulling credit, taking a look at income and setting expectations for how the rest of the process will go, what your monthly payment can look like, and what your down payment and closing costs are going to look like. Because those are kind of the big three most important things when buying a home: is how much is it going to cost me and what is it going to cost me on a monthly basis.